Hey book friends, I'm Addie and you are now watching Books and Tea Time. I have been terrible at uploading lately. I am so sorry. I am probably in one of the worst reading slumps I've been in since I've been on YouTube. I don't know, I am really struggling with focus. I have started and filmed almost 4 entire videos and scrapped every single one of them because I'm just not feeling it. I'm not reading books that I'm liking. I'm not finishing books. I'm just starting books and then doing nothing with them. I don't know. You can probably hear Killua trying to dig his way under the door and into my room right now because he is a demon spawn. They're not allowed in my book room because they wreak absolute havoc when they're in here. They knock books off of the shelves. They ripped down one of my curtains. They get behind the books and try and hide from me. They try and eat the fairy lights. So they're not allowed in here. And they're pretty mad about it. So Kilo's trying to burrow his way under the door and get into my room right now. So in today's video, we have a 2-part goal here. The goal is to list off some books I want to read before the end of 2022. And also just try and pick books off of my physical TBR that I know I'm gonna like, that I have high expectations for, that have really good reviews, books that are going to reward me for reading rather than just reading a bunch of books that I check out at the library or reading new releases. I'm trying not to force it, especially because for the past few months really I've just been playing a lot of Animal Crossing, rewatching movies, watching TV, and trying not to force myself to read just because I feel like I need to, but I do really miss reading and it is a huge part of my life and my personality, obviously, as I have a booktube. So I'm trying to get back on track. So I've picked out 5 books that I want to read before the end of the year. And as you will soon notice, most of them, 4 of them actually, are fantasy books. It's my favorite genre and there are books that I really know that I'm gonna like, authors that I really like, and then I have 1 nonfiction. I have also already started 3 of these books. And that's not saying much. I've really only read 40 pages for 2 of them and then I'm partway through the other one. So these are not the only books I'm probably gonna read for now and the end of the year. I mean, there are other books I'm gonna read. Obviously, I'm gonna read Chloe Lisa's new book that comes out in a few weeks. The oh my god, what's it called? Two Wrongs Make a Right. It's the new book. It's the first book in her new series. I'm obviously going to read that. I also really want to read Into the Riverlands, which is the 3rd book in the Singing Hills cycle. So I'm probably going to read both of those, but those aren't physical books that I own yet because they're new releases. So these are just the 5 books on my TBR, on my physical TBR, that we're going to worry about from now to the end of the year. So I'm just going to talk about those books with you today. And then you can let me know which ones you think I should do first. If you want vlogs for them, let me know what you want to read before the end of the year. What books are you really prioritizing right now, I guess? So the first book we're going to talk about is actually a book that I am about 1/3 of the way through right now. I've been reading it over the past few days and it's definitely been getting me back in a reading mood. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and that is because I specifically chose it because it's a book that I knew I was gonna like and that I've been waiting to read for a really long time, and that is The Disappearance of Winter's Daughter by Michael J. Sullivan. This is the 4th book in the Rhaenyra Chronicles by Michael J. Sullivan. It is the prequel series to my favorite fantasy series of all time. I've talked about it many times on this channel, but the Rhaenyra, you would think that because it's my favorite I would know how to pronounce it, but I don't. But the Rhaenyra Revelations trilogy by Michael J. Sullivan is my favorite fantasy series of all time ever. I love it so much. And I actually made a whole video dedicated to that, but this is the prequel series and it's the 4th and final installment in the prequel series, which is one of the reasons why I've been procrastinating it for so long, is I really don't want to be done with these characters. There's more books in this world, but not with these characters because it takes place in a completely different timeline. But anyway, this series, these books follow 2 partners, Hadrian and Royce, and one of them is an assassin or an ex-assassin, one of them is an ex-mercenary, and they kind of just take on odd jobs together. And oh, my bookmark just fell out. It's so funny, it's adventurous, it's the best hardy fantasy, and it's like classic fantasy but not in like an old stuffy way. It's just so good, and I knew I was gonna love it. Hadrian and Royce are hilarious. I never laugh out loud reading as much as I do when I read these books. They're so funny, their dynamic is amazing, and I just knew that I was really gonna like it. I feel like this is one of the most underhyped book series like of all time. I don't understand why more people don't read it. It's a crime. Another book that I have started is The Hunger of the Gods by John Gwynne. I actually just released a reading vlog for the first book in this series, The Shadow of the Gods. It is a spoiler reading vlog. I had so much fun filming that and reading the first book. So again, I really know that I'm gonna love this. I have my sticky tabs in here. I'm on chapter 9. I'm like 70 pages in. I immediately started this after finishing The Shadow of the Gods, and then I hit my reading slump. So it's not because I don't like it that I haven't finished it. It's just I was just really not in the mood to read. But like the beginning of this book pops off. It takes place like right after the end of the first one, and it's crazy. I love this series. I love these characters. This world is really cool. So even though it's a long book, I don't think it's going to take me very long to read. And I know that I really liked the first one. My dad also said that this one was really good. He read it this year. So I just feel like I have a lot of, you know, 5-star potential in this book and also in the rest of the books on this list. So that makes me feel good about it. But this series, the first book, is about a bunch of characters in this like Norse mythology inspired fantasy world, like very Viking Norse-esque. And a lot of like the gods in this world are based on the gods of the Norse pantheon. And it's just like a bloody, violent, good time. And I love the characters. The character work is amazing. So I can't wait to get back in this world. And I'm really hoping that the third one is going to come out in the next few years. So I want to be caught up in the series. Then the third book in this stack that I have actually already started, and the only book that is not a fantasy, is Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. So I started this several months ago. But what I always do with nonfiction is I take my time because I like to annotate and I like to learn from my nonfiction, and so I won't like rush myself, but oftentimes not rushing myself turns into just not reading it. So I want to set aside time each week for like my nonfiction reading, and I want to prioritize finishing this book because again, it's a book I know I'm gonna love. The first like 50 pages, I have tabbed so many things. Like you guys can see, I am just really enjoying this book and Kimmerer's perspective. Every single time I see this book, I want to pick it up and read it, and I just keep putting it off, and I don't want to put it off anymore. So I must finish it. I'm challenging myself and documenting it on the internet. I will finish it before the end of the year, and I'll let you guys know my thoughts. Okay, we have 2 more books to go. Again, both of them are fantasy. Well, I guess this one is kind of sci-fi, but it falls into that umbrella, let's say. And that is good old Brandon Sanderson. I am going to be starting the Skyward series. As of like 2 or 3 months ago, I caught up to Stormlight. I have finished Rhythm of War, so I am caught up and ready to go with the Stormlight archives. I've read the original 3 Mistborn books, and I've also read Warbreaker. So I'm like slowly making my way through Brandon Sanderson's canon. And I know Skyward is really popular, it's really good. It's like a sci-fi story about this girl who wants to be like a spaceship captain, I think, or like a flight pilot, that's the word I'm looking for. She wants to be a space pilot. And like her father was disgraced, so her reputation is kind of like iffy. And I know there's a bunch of really cool stuff. My best friend says that it's really good, and so obviously I'm gonna read it because it's her recommendation, but also because it's Brandon Sanderson, and I am preparing myself. 2023, God willing, Stormfather willing, is gonna be the year of Brandon Sanderson for me, because I did go in on like the 4 secret novels pack with my dad, so I'm going to get all 4 of the books and we're gonna like share them and read them together for Brandon Sanderson's like secret novel thing. I swear to God, that man is not human. Anyway, I got all 4 of those books, and also, if everything works out well, Stormlight 5 should be coming out at the end of next year. If absolute worst, early 2024. So I'm like slowly working myself up and preparing myself for that by reading other Sanderson books to like get me through until then. I really want to reread Warbreaker, but I also want to read and catch up to where this series is right now. I actually am not sure if this is in the Cosmere, but if it is, that would be cool. If not, I don't really want to not read it just because it's not in the Cosmere. And it's not super long. Oh wow, it's 500 pages. Okay, it is deceivingly thin. But of course, I saved the biggest book for last, and that is The Final Strife by Sarah L. Arifi. I have to read this book. I have to. Look at this cover. This is the one I'm most worried about because it is the longest. Let me see how long this one is. I mean, it's not longest by much. It's like just shy of 600 pages. But like, how could I not? This came out in June, I think, and I have not seen a single person talk poorly of this book. It is getting so much hype, so much buzz. It's a debut fantasy book from what I understand. So many big names blurbing it on the back, and like, look at the inside of this. Like, epic fantasy is just my bread and butter. And I know I'm gonna love this book. I know I'm gonna love it. So I really hope to at least start this book. Inspired by Ghanaian folklore and Arabian mythology, which I love mythology, as you guys know. Again, something I'm so fascinated by, learning the different pantheons, seeing all that. 3 women band together against a cruel empire that divides people by blood. Red is the blood of the elite, of magic, of control. Blue is the blood of the poor, of workers, of the resistance. Clear is the blood of slaves, of the crushed, and of the invisible. I feel like I'm gonna be ashamed of myself if I haven't finished this by the end of the year. Hopefully they'll all be 5 out of 5 stars. And hopefully they'll get me back in the reading mood, so when the new year kicks in, I will just be ready to go and ready to tackle another year's worth of a TBR. So again, please let me know what you are reading right now or what you want to finish before the end of the year. Have you read any of these books? Were they good? What are your thoughts? Do you want to see vlogs? You know, just chat. Let's chat. How are you? What is going on in your life? Are you in a really good place with reading? Are you not? Just like, let me know. Let's have a discussion in the comments, yeah? I caved and I let him come in for the outro because he really wanted to say, thank you, everybody. Oh, did you hear that? He said thank you. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. It means the world to me. I love you all. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if that's your jam, and I hope to see you in my next video. Happy reading, happy writing, and happy living. Peace out.